Here we go. Welcome to my WWE Money in the Bank. I can't even that was so much fun to watch. If not the most entertaining event for this, due to everything that's going on to me. And if not, the Money in the Bank match was unique. Both matches taking place at the same time. And I think I have a lot to say just going towards the end with the result, because some people might have mixed feelings about the results. To me, they did something different for the men's side of things I didn't see coming. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't expect that for the results either. But everyone wanted different people to win. And for me, I expected some others. But I'm going to get to that later on. And I'm going to go right through these matches. And I hope you guys enjoyed the event. And it seemed like some of these matches went a little bit by really quickly. Just a short pay-per-view to say, or just one of the shortest events. And I still enjoyed it just going forward to the last ending for the main event for the Money in the Bank matches. But let's get right started. And every match card is going to be listed in the description of the video. So we're going to start with Jeff Hardy and Cesaro in a kickoff match. So a returning Jeff Hardy finally getting back into the company, trying to bounce back and just get his bearings back and get back into the ring. And if you guys already know, has just returned from just this past Friday night SmackDown. So now he's back in the company just looking for one last run. So now he takes on Cesaro for this kickoff match, and he obviously was going to win because he just came back. So that's our kickoff match. There was no other kickoff matches to take place. We're going to get right into the main show now, starting with the first match, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which was a fatal four-way. The New Day defending their titles against Miz and Morrison. The Forgotten Sons from NXT, who made their way over to the SmackDown show, and the Lucha House Party. And the New Day ended up finding a way to win and end up retaining. I honestly thought that the Forgotten Sons were going to end up winning because it seemed like they were making their names known on the show. But even though they did lose tonight and the New Day ended up retaining during this match, I still see them as future champions. Maybe in a later event or maybe on a different show. We'll see what happens. But I just noticed they weren't the ones to get pinned. It was the Lucha House Party that actually got pinned during this match. So we'll see. I think it's going to be more feuds and then even more matches to come. And I think maybe if they do like a one-on-one with the New Day, they'll probably end up winning the titles off of them because they already beat them before. But we're going to get into the next match. It wasn't really much of a match. R-Truth, who was supposedly supposed to take on MVP, he ended up taking on being replaced by Bobby Lashley, who came out and he took MVP's place and easily just dominated R-Truth. So this was just like a silly match, a throwaway match. I think they just put on the card. But if MVP was in this match, I already saw him winning. He was going to be my pick. So Lashley ended up beating R-Truth. We'll get on to the next match, the SmackDown Women's Championship being defended from Bayley, our current champion, taking on Tamina. But I knew she was going to end up retaining because Sasha was going to already find her way to get involved in the match. So that's basically what happened. Tamina was almost going to capitalize and end up getting the title, but just because of her best friend or her bestie, Sasha Banks, getting involved in the match to cost Tamina the title. So Bayley's still is still your SmackDown Women's Champion. But further down the road, I think that Sasha is going to end up betraying her. It's going to be that same thing. Best friend stabs friend in the back, and then she's going to want that title eventually, because notice just the way her attitude, you could just see it coming soon. And I'm surprised it didn't even happen yet already, because it seemed like the only reason that Bayley's been winning and keeping her title is because of Sasha Banks. So I just see that happening. Sasha Banks taking on Bayley in the near future, and Sasha Banks is going to probably be the one to take that title away. If not, our Money in the Bank winner, depending on what happens with it. You never know what they could do. She might even want to cash in and go to SmackDown. I'll get to that later, but we'll see. Our Universal Championship match, I thought Bray Wyatt was going to probably find a way to probably transform or change Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman ended up winning and retaining. But it seemed like it was pretty cool how they wrote this in and just made this all happen. It made it seem like Braun Strowman was just falling into the mind games of Bray Wyatt and just going back into the past when he was called the Black Sheep. during the show during the old days before this whole era started. All these new superstars and started coming over and all that. Um, it seemed like he was going to go back to those times, but he was able to beat Bray Wyatt at his own game and making him having a black mask on, and then just getting him to just fall right into this power slam and just ended up having to beat him during the match. But I think this is gonna continue. I think the feud is gonna continue because now it's gonna be the Fiend's turn, and I think the Fiend is probably gonna end up beating Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. I still can't believe that they just snatched the title away from him, and I think he should have never lost the title in the first place, the Fiend, because he's one of my favorites, if not my favorite character and favorite gimmicks going for this current era of talent. He's one of my favorite characters, and just being a horror fan, I love the scary look he has, and just the fear he puts in his opponents, and just the way he's silly during the Firefly Funhouse. I just love that every time they put it on the show. So I see him probably getting a chance to come back after that title as the Fiend, but we'll see who else they probably throw in the mix. Right after that, we got our WWE Championship. Way before we get into the Money in the Bank matches, WWE Championship being defended by Drew McIntyre taking on Seth Rollins. And I think me personally, I think this was one of the best matches outside of our Money in the Bank matches, respectively, for the men and women from Raw and SmackDown. I think this was one of the best matches. Even though Seth Rollins was thrown into the match, I think it just like the build up was just really quickly. How did he get into the match? All he did was curve stomp and just basically stomp Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre just coming out next week and issuing a challenge to Seth Rollins as a defending champion or a fighting champion to take him on in the next event, which was basically tonight. So that's how he got into the match. He didn't do anything to earn the match, to get the title. He was just thrown in it as another opponent for Drew McIntyre to help pave his way. I think that's the way I see it. Even though he was thrown into it, he just was already he's a good formidable opponent for Drew McIntyre to take down and beat. Since he just beat the Conqueror, Brock Lesnar, he just ended up beating him. So now it's only natural for him to beat someone of that caliber who held the title multiple times to show that he's a strong champion. But I'm happy he won. I was scared they was going to take the title away, just like they did Bray Wyatt. I hope they keep the title on Drew McIntyre for a while. But I'm happy that he retained tonight. So that's just how I feel. And I'm glad that he has his chance to just get in the spotlight now, because he's just been going through so much and just being knocked down and just being seen as a joke. So now Drew McIntyre is on the run. But I'm curious to see who's going to be his next opponent now. But let's talk about our women's and men's ladder match for Money in the Bank. It was so silly and just very entertaining. I'm glad that they put this together. I think it was something unique, and it was something entertaining, especially with really nothing really to watch when it comes to sports or anything like that. They really have put like something really funny and entertaining when it comes to this. And I know some others might feel differently and say, oh, this wasn't really a good Money in the Bank match. It was a joke and not something to really take seriously. It was just so many things that I was able to spot. I even took a couple of notes here. They were both going on at the same time. That's what I liked too. It was even more interesting that they just ended up running into each other a few times. We had a food fight, and some of the people, some familiar faces from if you probably just now started watching the show, you wouldn't know some of these faces like John Laurinaitis, People Power, and just some other familiar faces like Doink the Clown. It seemed like they tried to go for in the corner of the ring with Daniel Bryan, Otis, and Keaton Corbin. Just battling it out. Otis cheering on Bryan during the yes kicks and stuff like that, and then he eventually turns around and starts beating Otis down. Some other things, and then just the way the women's match started with Asuka being sneaky, being stealthily hiding in the elevator while everyone else is fighting each other. It was pretty cool to really see this all into play. That women's right on Carmella when she tried to moonwalk outside the door, ran right into Lacey Evans' women's right. So that was pretty cool. Some highlights. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan finding their way into Vince McMahon's office and just being forced and just being kicked out. It was pretty fun. A couple highlights that I wanted to share that I really liked during this match. But just to get into the results, we ended up having Otis on the men's side ended up winning so unexpectedly. I'm curious to see what they're going to take with this. Now, he's really entertaining. I like Otis. Me personally, I don't know how you guys feel about it if you guys watch the show, but Otis is pretty cool. He's silly, and he's already got the girl Mandy Rose, and now he's gonna possibly be a champion in the singles competition. So it makes you wonder what they're gonna do with the tag team division, their tag team duo of Tucker. So maybe before I get into that, let's just get into the women's winner on that side. Asuka ended up winning. So originally, before this match started, before this event came up this weekend, once they got all the superstars together and announced, I thought Shayna Baszler was going to win because she's not done with Becky Lynch yet. And then on the men's side, now that AJ Styles ended up coming back from the grave and finding his way into the match, I thought he was probably going to possibly win. But prior to AJ coming into the match, I saw Aleister Black as my other pick. If coming into the game, coming up into the championship. I was going to say coming up into the game, coming up into the match as the winner, because he hasn't really lost that many matches, and it seems like he was really dominant, and he seems to be like a good competitor. But just look at superstars like Ricochet now, because you see that he wasn't able to win the championship yet, and just to see what they're doing with some of these NXT stars, it makes you wonder maybe they don't want to give it to him yet. Maybe they're going to probably put him in a feud with AJ Styles or somebody else. Or they're probably going to relive a feud. I don't know what they're going to really possibly do going forward when it comes to Aleister Black. But I just really thought that AJ Styles was going to probably end up winning. He was just the other choice. But seeing Otis climb that ladder, just to talk about the men's, before I get to the women's, I just thought that I'm just curious to see what they're going to do with Tucker. Because it seemed like when you think about it, Tucker is his dual partner, because when you really put the pieces together, Tucker is his always been his dual partner, and he's just been out of the spotlight. So we don't know what he's gonna do, and maybe he'll be just thinking about just betrayals. Maybe Tucker will be the one who will be the one that costs Otis of his championship title when he tries to cash in, and maybe he'll come out and just doing something completely unexpected. We don't know what he's gonna do, but. Otis was always part of the tag team division. So now maybe they're going to possibly utilize the Money in the Bank contract outside of just going for those main big titles. Maybe he's going to probably try to cash it in for the tag team titles. But where's his partner at? That's the other thing that's the main question. Where's Otis's partner Tucker? Is he going to ever come back? When is he going to come back? What's this going to be his reaction towards Otis? But maybe he's going to be behind him. Maybe he'll be in his corner. And maybe he gets the girl and gets the champion. But we'll just have to see what they do. And maybe he'll go to Raw. Maybe he'll want to go to Raw and just go to a different brand. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just so many different just options. And it just leaves so many questions. But that's what makes it interesting to me, is that now that we have somebody that was least expected to win, and that's what I personally like. We didn't expect, none of us saw Otis winning this match when he got into the Money in the Bank match. So that's pretty cool. So we'll just have to see. Now let's get into the women's division and talk about Asuka. She should have won at WrestleMania and beat Charlotte, but she didn't lose. She didn't even end up winning. So now I think now that she's been on this losing streak, getting knocked down, losing, she was tag team champions with Kairi Sane. And now it seems like they're probably going to put Asuka back on the map, back into that title hunt again, now that she's been losing over and over. To me, she never even should have lost at WrestleMania against Charlotte, because you basically had Asuka win that championship, well, basically win that Royal Rumble with Shinsuke Nakamura, and then only to have them both lose. Shinsuke lost to AJ Styles, and then Asuka had her streak broken by Charlotte. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know what they're going to probably do with her. So maybe she'll be the one to cash in. But it made me wonder why they didn't have Shayna Baszler win. Because now maybe she's going to probably find her way into the hunt. Maybe she's going to probably end up fighting Becky Lynch and end up challenging her again. But it's going to be pretty funny to see Asuka just getting inside Becky's head all over again. And I personally wouldn't have a problem having her as a champion again for Asuka, because I think she deserves it. But I wouldn't have also minded Dana Brooke that just finally getting her due. It seemed like she won, but it's just like, obviously you're not even at the top of the headquarters, so I knew that was like a tease. They tried to make it seem like, oh, we're gonna give Dana Brooke a chance, but just come to find out, she wasn't even at the top of the headquarters, because both of the briefcases are at the top. So outside of Shayna Baszler that I saw winning, I was gonna say that maybe Nia Jax was gonna probably be the winner because she just came back too. But I didn't really see Asuka winning. So two unexpected results for that people didn't really see coming, especially for Otis's side of things. We'll have to see what they do. So the good thing about this event, we get to find out what they're gonna probably do next for Monday Night Raw tomorrow, and then we'll probably have to see what they do in regards to SmackDown for Otis with what his decisions will be. But some of you guys might not even think he's ready for a title match now because he's never been a singles competitor. But I think he's at the top now, and it's just like most people would say out there, Otis is already over with the crowd because he already won. He won Mandy Rose's heart, and then just from the storyline, he gets the girl, and now he's gonna get the championship. So that's probably what the writers are thinking. He gets the girl, and then he becomes a champion. But maybe what I'm afraid of, even though he has that Money in the Bank briefcase, he might end up failing. So we'll just have to see what they do in regards to Otis. It's all about what the writers want to do, because it's not about what we want to see happen with the show. So let me know what you guys think about the event. To me, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it for what it was, from the matches and all. So we'll just have to see what they decide to do for the championships. But it'll be really silly if he does end up cashing in for the tag team championship. But we'll just have to find out what Tucker has to say about that. But again, I enjoyed it. I think it was pretty cool. It was really entertaining that they put this together. They didn't even have to give us a show. They never even have to give us a show in the end during these whole circumstances and situation around the world. So I'm grateful that they still managed to put something together.